Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 2, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for episode 11 for this season, otherwise entitled Truth and Consequences. But of course, before we get into anything else, let's actually watch that trailer.
Feels like we keep drifting apart as a family.
Maybe we're not that close to begin with.
You lied to me for 14 years about who you actually are.
That secret keeps this family safe.
We can't stop what's coming.
So last episode was a wild, crazy, insane, unpredictable, on your toes, whichever way you want to put it, that type of episode, because we were on the Bizarro world. We were Bizarros in a Bizarro world, like the episode title did suggest, and you just didn't know what was coming next. Some things you go, okay, I think it's going to go this way, and you might have been like half right, but just because we're on something completely different, we didn't have the history or the proper history, we weren't too sure exactly where things were going to go. But as we end off the episode, it seems that Anderson might have been killed, but even then, not too sure. Might bring him up later in the video. But Ali Alston does get her hands on both of the pendants and merges. We don't get to see the result of that merging, like what she can do and everything like that. But she merges, but also Jonathan L, whichever way you want to put him, the Bizarro Jonathan leaves the Bizarro world to go to our Earth, like we saw at the end of the previous episode before that. And yeah, he runs into Jonathan. Superman, we don't know what happens with him exactly and where he goes. He's on his way. He's trying to chase Jor-El, but we don't see him at the end of the episode. So yeah, another cliffhanger. They're keeping us on our toes in every way, shape, or form. But yeah, before we get into the actual breakdown of the trailer, we will quickly read out the synopsis or description for the episode, as it does give us, in this case, a bit of a weird description. It's long, but it's also weird at the same time. Probably the most unique one we've had, just because it's so odd. But we'll read that out before we go over the trailer. But of course, before all of that, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, theories, predictions, theories heading into this episode and the rest of the season. I'm always curious to read them. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and just want to show support, why not drop a like on the video to do all that? We pick up right where we left off, with Jor-El smirking at Lois, who's still standing on the porch with Jordan. Jor-El catches sight of his doppelganger Jonathan standing not too far away. He lunges at him and Jordan tries to intervene, but Jor-El appears to be stronger and faster than him. So yeah, this is a very weird synopsis, an odd synopsis, and unique one, like I was saying before we read it out. But the main thing that it's like this, I think, is because it was released before the previous episode. So before the Bizarro World episode came out, this had been out for about a week or two or something like that. So obviously they didn't want to spoil anything relating to Ali Alston or any of the events on the Bizarro World or within that episode or anything like that. So they pretty much kept it contained to what was suggested at the end of the previous episode before that one. So yeah, it's an odd one. I don't think they're going to update the synopsis. Actually, they probably will. But just for like HBO Max and stuff for streaming, maybe. I don't know if there'd be a updated synopsis before this episode comes out next week, but I don't know. A bit of a fun fact, David Ramsey is directing this episode. Of course, that's Diggle from Arrow. Now, that does not mean expect Diggle in this episode. I think David also directed an episode earlier this season for Superman and Lois. I'm pretty sure he did. And he did not show up in that episode either. So don't expect him, don't expect Diggle to walk through the door and go, hey, oh, more Kryptonians that are evil, I'll leave. Don't expect Diggle to do some comical sitcom entrance and leaving, or entrance and departure, whichever way you want to put it. Don't expect him to show up, because I can just see people thinking that's going to happen because he's directing. But yeah, we start off the trailer with Jor-El, or the Bizarro Jonathan, approaching the Kent house or the Kent farm throughout the day. Obviously, at the end of last episode, it's at night, so he's coming back by the looks of it. Now, I'm actually wondering, did he succeed from the previous night? Well, you do see Lois screaming, John, I'm pretty sure. Maybe she's yelling Jordan. I'm not too sure. It's John or Jordan. It's like something beginning with a J, and it sort of like cuts off a bit, so it's one of the two. But then you see Clark with Jonathan on the couch holding an ice pack to either his hand or stomach or something like that. So there is definitely a fight that goes on. But the synopsis does say that Jordan tries to intervene in order to help out, Jonathan and stop Jor-El. But maybe also our Jonathan tries to intervene as well, because maybe he can feel some sort of like powers coming in or something like that. I'm not too sure. But it's important to remember that maybe they could use some ex-kryptonite to get rid of John-El to drive him away. Maybe there's some lying around. Maybe Jonathan lied and there is some ex-kryptonite still in the house that he does use. Maybe it's in his pocket, maybe it's in the barn, something like that. And he does use it to, get John-El away by using that, because obviously ex-kryptonite to John-El is like what kryptonite is to Superman. And speaking of Superman, maybe Superman just shows up. Seeing that Clark is there with Jonathan on the couch later in the trailer, maybe he shows up right at the end, is able to, get John-El away. Maybe that happens. Now we do see Jordan questioning how close their family actually is, and of course, like, Clark has seen the effects of their family not being close on the Bizarro world. And I think we all know that is a lie, and that, the Kent family is a decently close one. Like, it's not the closest family you'll ever see, but, they're probably like around average, I'd say, maybe even above average in regards to the tightness of the family relationships and stuff like that. So this might be Jordan being a bit dramatic and trying to, test the boundaries or something like that. Now, we do have Jonathan going on about how his father lied to him for 14 years about who he truly is. But why is Jonathan bringing this up? I was watching in the trailer, I was like, wait, hold on, why is this scene randomly happening? So I'm wondering, is it like a reveal in the episode? Like, maybe it could be something hypocritical that Clark brings up that, doesn't, hit Jonathan the right way. Or maybe it could even be, like, if there is a situation where ex-kryptonite is brought out, maybe Clark and Lois aren't happy that Jonathan had ex-kryptonite in the house or something along those lines. We don't know specifically what it could be, but obviously something rubs Jonathan the wrong way, or he has to talk about, the fact that Clark kept the whole Superman thing a secret for 14 years. Now, we do have Superman going to meet John-El, it looks like, in a, like, butcher or, like, a slaughterhouse. We can see, like, meat hooks. Like, it's one of those two, like a butcher house or a slaughterhouse or something like that. But it looks like John-El might have attacked Superman with, like, shards of kryptonite. We can see Superman lying on the floor and, like, kryptonite coming out of his chest. Very odd. And maybe this is, once again, going back to ex-kryptonite, maybe this could be, like, revenge from the use of ex-kryptonite on John-El the night before, maybe. But, yeah, obviously, John-El can just pick up kryptonite and do whatever he wants to it. Or he could use it himself to, get a bit more powerful. So it's either or. So it's very interesting when you're dealing with these opposites where, they're affected by the opposite thing, because one weakens the other. Well, what will weaken one will strengthen the other, if that makes sense. So I'm wondering how they could go, especially if this whole thing leads into the finale for this season, maybe sacrifices that certain people need to make. Now, the trailer doesn't really highlight too much. Like, really, those 3 or 4 things we talked about, you could argue even like stretching it to make it a point of discussion. So I'm not too sure if this episode is going to be a more settled one that builds up to another big moment that leads into a bigger episode later on, or if they're just hiding stuff. Because the episode before the Bizarro World one was the Jordan episode, where he was just going around, learning to use his powers a bit more and taking a bit more responsibility with them. It wasn't a massive episode, but then it leads into a big cliffhanger, which then leads into that big Bizarro World episode that we just watched. So is this episode going to be similar to that Jordan one, or are they just hiding stuff? As I said, it's hard to tell. But I think we might get a bit of a inkling fairly on, early into this episode as to where it's going. But there are some questions that come from last episode, which I'm very curious to hear what you guys might have to think about, and I'll just give my quick thoughts. But like, what happens to Allie? She's merged. Like, the 2 Allies have merged into one. But what happens? Does she get powers? If so, what are the power set? Is it like something like Parasite in the comics? Like, Allie is sort of like a form of like Parasite from the comics. So is it like a take on that? Is it something completely different? Like, what is it exactly? That has a lot of people curious, because neither version has powers. So it's not like one's, merging, like one that has powers is merging with another that doesn't. Neither of them do. So what happens? Like, that has me really intrigued to how lethal Allie could potentially be. But once again, I don't know if we're going to get it this episode, because this could just be like a really calm episode, but then maybe it's a reveal at the end. Maybe Allie comes over at the end of the episode. I'm not too sure. But Anderson as well, is he dead? I don't know if Anderson is dead, because they talked about how he had 1 vial of ex-kryptonite left and everything like that. So I'm not too sure whether he actually is dead or not. But then, like, I don't know exactly which way they're going to go about it, because that was going to be his pathway back home. So maybe he isn't dead, just pretends to be dead and is able to get back home when everyone just leaves, because he's still got that vial of ex-kryptonite. So he's more of like a surprise return when that happens. I'm not too sure. But even on the Bizarro world, it looks like Tal-Rho, he let Superman go and he might change sides again because he didn't side with his brother. His brother ended up dying. So maybe he can still help out and honor what his brother was fighting for by helping out our Superman. So it'd be really interesting if we saw the Bizarro Tal-Rho side with our Superman and team up at the end of the season, because it'd sort of be like the opposite of of season 1. But then I saw someone saying online, it's like, well, could those two fuse? Like, I don't know what would happen if like the Bizarro Tal-Rho and our Tal-Rho that's in the prison, what if they fuse together? Like, that'd be really, really interesting as well. Like, you have like a sort of like a somewhat good version and the bad version, mixing together. What does it make? Like, that'd be really, really interesting. But speaking about right at the end of the season, a lot of people are confused whether Ali is actually the final, like, real big bad of the season. I still don't know. I think it matters what her powers are. I think we have to wait and see what her powers are after this merge before we even think about whether, okay, is she going to be able to take on Superman? Like, could she take him on in a fight, or is it something else? Can she do stuff to other people that makes them like the physical threat? And Ali's more like a mastermind behind it all, who has the abilities to do certain things and everything like that. I'm very curious to see what has happened post-merge with Ali, because I just don't know which direction they're going to go with. But the fact that I'm questioning it, most people seem to be wondering it and questioning it as well, is a good thing, because then, we're sitting in anticipation. The only issue could be if it's a bit just like a bit meh, you know what I mean? But hopefully it's not. I don't think it will be. Just because they've seemed to be making a big point about this merge thing, so something bad must be coming out of it. But yeah, there are no promo images at this stage when I'm making the video, so Superman and Lois promo images don't usually tend to be too revealing, so we're probably not missing out on too much, but no, my luck, they'll reveal something cool. I don't know, but yeah, we haven't got any promo images as of yet, but that's unfortunate. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions about everything we went over in this video and what you're looking forward to most in the next episode. I'm always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.